Hello, is anyone able to confirm whether they can hear me in the comments, please? We have 45 people watching. Is someone able to confirm whether they can hear me? Okay, great. Can everyone still hear me? It's Ryan here from Follow Everton. We are bringing some people into the stream in a few moments. Bear with me a sec. Guys, welcome to Follow Everton. Dan and Jeff are going to be joining very shortly, and I'm just holding the fort for a few minutes before they come into the stream on my way to work. Everton have lost again 2-0 to West Ham United, another relegation rival. And I'm sorry, but this has got to be the final straw for Frank Lampard. I have seen nothing in the space of 12 months of his management that makes me think this guy has any clue how to manage a football club. He is completely and utterly out of his depth. And can anyone in the comments give me any justifiable reason why this man should remain in a job? I'm bringing in Low down.
I'm having problems with my headphones. That's why I'm a bit late.
That's fine. Just because I'm driving, you able to take that banner off the screen now you're here. You just double click on it again. If you can't, then leave it. But I need to come off the camera.
No, I'm trying to do it now for you, bud. Go on.
Dan, talk us through how you're feeling right now. I mean, personally, I'm feeling at the absolute lowest I've felt in the entire sort of time supporting this club.
Yeah, I'm frustrated, but I felt like it was lost by tactics and managers today. So that's what I think. I think personally it was tactics and manager. But it is what it is. Everyone's going to be major breath.
Beginning of the end for us, isn't it, really?
No, it's just set up wrong, to be fair. If you set them up wrong against a team that's pretty good, then you're going to pay for it, and we paid for it, in my opinion.
I don't think our setups have got anything to do with it. Afternoon, everyone. I think the players just.
I think the setup's got a lot. I think the setup's got a lot to do with it.
Yeah, I know.
If you're playing Coleman as an attacking wing back and Mikalenko, and they can't attack, I think it makes a big difference.
But that's the whole point. It's the players aren't good enough. It's just as simple as that. Is like at some point, like, yeah, you can make all of the. You know, we should play this and we should do this and we should try different tactics and the manager's at fault and all the rest of it. What we've just witnessed is a team that tried hard. They tried hard. They're just not good enough. It's as simple as that.
Nothing there.
Just not good enough. They're just a poor side that have finally found their level. And their level is flat bottom of the Premier League, getting relegated, can't score, can't defend, teamwork non-existent, can't pass the ball. We're just a poor side. We're getting relegated because we deserve to be relegated because we're a poor side that lacks quality, that lacks cohesion. Yeah, I'm sure that Lampard has to go because he doesn't know what he's doing. He's completely out of his depth. But the idea that some other manager could come in and perform some kind of miracle and get this team to play football because it's just like Lampard's tactics that were wrong, I'm sorry, but that's just delusional. This team
is not delusional, though. I think you have to.
Good enough.
It's easy for you. You always give the miserable. It's not good enough. But
I'm just honest. I'm just not going to lie. I'm not going to lie to fans.
You're not even looking at the game. All you're doing is just saying it's not good enough. It's not good enough. It's not good enough.
It's just look.
If you set them up shit, it's not going to help them.
Don't like facing reality. The reality is these players are not good enough. They are not good enough.
So why set them up wrong?
A silk pair. What difference does that make?
Of course, it makes a big difference. Football tactics is
Literally
massive.
tried every single formation that we could possibly play: 4-3-3, 4-2, 4-4-2, 5 at the back. We've tried 2 up top. We've tried 3 up top. We've tried all kinds of different things. These players are not good enough. They cannot play football. They can't defend. They cannot pass the ball to each other. They are just rubbish football players. They are not Premier League quality.
Can anyone hear me?
You can literally say whatever you want, but they're just not good enough. I'm sorry, but reality is what reality is. And you don't like that, but I'm not deluded.
Can anyone hear me?
So many times, they are not good enough for this division.
Yes, we can hear you.
They're just not good enough. I'm sorry, but they're not.
These players are the absolute. Hiya, mate. Sorry, I'm driving on my way.
Another row again.
No, it's fine. You're passionate Blues. You're entitled to have your opinion. I'm currently driving, so I'm only on audio through the hands-free. But I agree to some extent with what you're saying. These players are the absolute dregs of the league. We have signed players on free transfers from relegated teams, on loan from teams that are struggling. We have signed players for buttons, and we have some other players that have come through the academy who who are rejects elsewhere. This isn't the squad that we paid 500 million to assemble. This is a squad full of players who simply aren't good enough and are at their level. And I don't believe that Frank Lampard will change it and will get anything better out of this squad. I think we need we need a miracle. We need a manager who's experienced, who is a different level, because we're not going to. He's tried everything. He's tried absolutely everything, Frank Lampard. He's tried every formation, every set of personnel, and he can't find anything that even slightly works. We never look like scoring, and we concede several goals every game.
Yeah. And it just, like what manager is going to come in? This is the thing is like, yeah, okay, Lampard out, fair enough. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's out of his depth, and that's fine. But who's going to come in and turn? I don't see who's going to do it. Jesus? Are we going to employ Jesus to manage this? Because, like, short of an actual miracle, like literally employing Jesus to be our manager, this team isn't good enough. It's just simply that. We've got forwards who cannot score a goal. We've got midfielders who cannot hold on to the ball or pass the ball to each other in any kind of consistent, coherent pattern of play. We've got, that's what I'm just saying. We've got midfielders who've got no pattern of play. We've got defenders who make mistake after mistake after mistake. We've got fullbacks who've got no pace and like no ability to get forward. I don't understand how like the tactics would change with a new manager, like, because these players just aren't good enough. It's just, I'm sorry, Ryan, and I know you're the optimistic one, and like I'd love to be hopeful and I'd love to be optimistic and I'd love to not be the negative one, like. But I cannot lie to the people who are watching this thing.
Yeah, but I don't see
the facts. We are shit. We are shit. We are utterly shit. We are definitely one of the worst 3 teams in the league. We do not have a good quality. Like, and we've got an owner who left before the end of the game because probably he's too much of a shitbag to actually sack the man. He's out of his depth. He's got to go. And our boss, our owner, is too much of a coward to do the job himself. So he's probably effed off, and he'll leave Baxendale and the others to do the dirty and actually sack the guy. But they didn't even have the balls to do it at Goodison Park. Like, they're doing it in London because then he can get back on his boat down in the Med, can't he? We were shitbag of a club with a shitbag board, shitbag owner, and shitbag players.
We were crap in pre-season, and I said on the channel, during pre-season that if you look at the records of every single player we had in the squad, not one of them had any pedigree and any ability to score goals. You look at Iwobi, he scores 1 in 20 goals. The same with every single player in that squad. You need goals to win games. We moaned about not having a good midfield and having legs and not having centre-backs who don't make mistakes. We brought them in, and guess what? Now they're making mistakes. We're rotten from the core. We were rubbish in pre-season. We've been sleepwalking through the season. We can't even be safe and boring and hard to beat. And we were crap at the World Cup break. We didn't change anything then, and it's just got progressively worse. We've lost to Brighton. We've lost to Southampton. We've lost to West Ham. We've lost to Leicester. We've lost to fucking Wolves. We've lost to Bournemouth twice. And for me, that is Frank Lampard. Get him out of the club. Completely unacceptable. He's got the worst record of any Everton manager I can recall. He has got to go. Regardless of anything you might feel towards the board and the owners, and equally so, you can have your right, because they put us in this position with their poor neglect, their woeful spending, their lack of recruitment. But I'd sack Kevin Thelwell as well. The pair of them, if this is what they've come up with, they've got to go.
Yeah. Yeah, fair dues. Go on, right. Sorry, Dan.
Oh, like I say, I just think about. I just look at the game and I think the manager did make a big difference. The manager fucked us up. I'm different. I think the manager fucked us up. If you actually talk about the game, it was the first 10, 15 minutes. West Ham looked as scared as us, and the commentators were saying, "Oh, both teams are really scared to go for it," and we didn't have enough attacking players on. We were set up completely wrong. Now Mikalenko and Coleman are the only thing they have about them as a left back and right back is their defensive work. They are not fucking wing backs. They are not. So if you play Mikalenko and Coleman as wing backs, you are getting nothing. And then you're leaving yourself with 3 centre backs by them not being able to freaking get back or freaking by them trying to do something they can't. And it doesn't work. They can't
defend in wide areas. Our centre backs, Dan, just to quickly elaborate on it, we saw at the start of the season when we tried to play 3 centre backs like that who aren't really good at defending in wide areas. And what did you see? The same problems. Centre backs who can't defend in wide areas because the wing backs have gone forward. The only solution there would have been Godfrey and Holgate. They're the only two who can probably play in that position.
We said, Ryan, to play 4-5-1. Do it fucking simple. These players ain't clever enough to play frigging wing backs and shit like that. They ain't got the football brain to do it. You play 4-5-1 and you say to Mikalenko, Coleman, sit back and fucking defend. That's what you do. Simple as basic shit, because these are simple players. You play 4-5-1 and then you get your wingers to get back and help your right and left back, and you get your centre midfielders to fucking do the job in the middle of the park and play with one striker. This formation that Lampard put out today, the moment they scored that goal, it wasn't working. Now you change it. You fucking change it as soon as it isn't working, because you could see what was going to happen.
But he did change. He changed it at half time.
At half time, we're 2-0 down. We're 2-0 down. The game's finished. We ain't bringing 2-0.
I know, but look,
it wasn't working.
I'm not defending Lampard. I'm certainly not.
Shit manager.
But realistically, like, I don't know what difference you think that like another manager would make to this shower of shite players.
I'm not saying that other managers.
We've literally got centre halves who cannot actually work as a 2 and don't work as a 3. That get caught out in possession, get caught out of position. That like basically lead their man to the other person who leaves it to them. So I mean, like the goal last time was it. You know, we've got one guy on the left and one guy on the right, and Ward-Prowse strolled straight through the middle and scored. So that's basic defending. That's the basic function of a defender. They can't do that. They're not good enough to do that job. We've got no pace in the side. other than one player who like can occasionally score a good goal or worthy of a goal, but otherwise offers very little at all. And he's the talisman of the side. Like Damari Gray, a player that was not good enough for Leicester, wasn't good enough in Germany, that we got for £1.5 million, is our saviour. He's like the only attacking outlet that we've got in the last like month. We've got a centre forward who's he's too frightened to play football. Oh, Gordon's off to wherever
all I can do is
he's been batting his eyelashes at Newcastle now. Like we've got a gang of spineless shithouses.
All I can do is look at the quality.
Can I say one thing?
Sat too deep.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, of course you can.
Sorry, there's a bit of a delay. There's a bit of a delay just because I'm on Bluetooth. So you'll have to bear with me. And if I'm interrupting, it's not on purpose.
Crack on.
I didn't see much of this game, but I didn't need to. I felt like I'd seen it 1,000 times, even in the bits I'd seen. I tuned in at one point, and we're passing it through round at the back, out of trouble. You know, West Ham pressing us, and we managed to play out the press into midfield. Eventually, Iwobi gets it on the right-hand channel, and he passes it forward to someone, a pass that wasn't on, and then the ball comes straight back from our halfway line to create a chance for West Ham where Declan Rice nearly scored and was a whisker away. How does that happen? How are we so poorly set up that we have no one who can react to when we lose the ball in transition? What is the point in having Onana? What is the point in having Gay? What is the point in having any of these players if they're not set up to actually do anything that makes us even remotely functional when we lose the ball? It's an utter disgrace.
Yeah,
I think the game was done second half. If you look at the second half, you won't get a full view of the game. The first half was where the game was won and lost for me. And I think if you actually, like, the thing you talk about is the game, because that's where it was won and lost. And if their first goal, to sit that deep and not all push out, this is the thing about the wing backs and the back five. It makes you sit deep, and to sit that deep, because if you've got a back four, your centre back say, get out, push out. Because if you sit on your penalty spot, the ball will come in like it did, and you're in trouble. If you've got a back four that push out,
that's fine. Okay,
that's how the goal was scored. That's how the goal was scored.
That's only the argument for today.
That's our fault.
What about all of the other fucking games for the
whole? Who gives a shit about that? I'm talking about this game.
Right, but the whole point is that like arguing about one game is in the context of where we are as a football club. Like, today was.
Let's not look at the game today then.
No, but today this was the excuse. Oh, we should have played a different system. We should have done
That's
this.
what we're going to talk about.
Last time it was we played three. Last time we were playing four at the back and we were playing three in midfield, and it was like, oh yeah, we're too defensive and we've got no threat up front, and so we inevitably lose. There's always some various different reasons why we've lost. But the whole point is that it doesn't matter how we play. If the players are shit, and they are shit, it doesn't matter how you play. You can train.
I really hope a different manager comes in and changes things, and I'll laugh at you because he set them up shit today.
Fine, laugh at me, right? Who is gonna do this? Like, which miracle worker is going to turn these players?
Not an easy job. I'm not saying that, by the way. So,
in time to stop us getting relegated, because our next game is Arsenal away. And the game after that is our next game is Arsenal at home, and the next game after that is Liverpool away.
He's gone today.
So some new guys going to come in with no money to spend, possibly a lone player or two, and like Liverpool and Arsenal as the next two games.
I don't think
we couldn't attract the monster fucking mouldy apple. Let John speak now.
All right, boys.
John.
It's difficult to know what to say. I mean, the club is pretty much rotten to the core. There's not one good aspect of it at the moment, apart from the fans, and even we're all like being torn apart now over all these decisions. The board is rotten. The manager is clueless. The players are useless. And it doesn't really look like we can do anything at all because all three of those key elements are broken. We've now lost 3 games to teams that are bottom of the league. We lost to Wolves, we lost to Southampton, and now we've lost to West Ham. And even if we set up and played 11 men behind the ball every single one of those games, because realistically we don't have a chance in hell going forward and scoring goals. But if we set up and had 11 men behind the ball there and at least try and push out for a draw, we could have had 3 extra points and we would have knocked 2 points off every single one of those teams. And the fact that we've gone and lost to all 3 bottom, it just shows how poor as a team we are. And individual players, they just can't work. Today, if you look at the performance, we're 2-0 down and they're passing the ball backwards as per friggin' usual. There's no commitment to go forward. There's no pace and agility in the team. You see Jared Bowen sprinting down, trying to get... I think the second goal, there were 6 of us and 2 of them, and they still managed to cross the ball in and get a goal because no one is watching the run. No one's watching the play, and the players just don't have a clue what to do. Lampard's tactics are non-existent. They're just nowhere to be seen, and we're just it's like having 11 random people who are not good at football, have no communication between them, and don't know what to do. You may as well stick 11 random people on because it makes no difference.
What?
We are so atrocious, and they just don't know how to play together. We are useless, and there's nothing we can do. I've accepted that we are pretty much guaranteed relegation because there's nothing our players, manager, or there's nothing we can do to get ourselves out of this. As you said, we need a miracle, but there's no answer to the problems that we have.
What the hell is that, Nicky? Mashiri's just said on Sky, read Lampard, it's not my decision. That exactly is the issue here. Mashiri has just said live on Sky about Lampard, it's not my decision.
And rightly so. It's the director of football's decision and the board. And they're not taking any action because they're just as accountable as everyone else. They've put people in the wrong jobs. They sign the wrong players. They recruit badly. They make the same mistakes. John, by the way, you were spot on with what you said. You were absolutely spot on. The thing that annoys me the most is these aren't defeats to Spurs and Arsenal and Liverpool and Chelsea. We've got that all to come. We've lost to the bottom of the league, the absolute rotten clubs struggling at the bottom. They're the worst clubs to lose to.
And if you tell me how we go and draw to Man City after losing to Wolves, and then we go the next 2 weeks and we face the likes of the other 2 relegated pretty much battle teams, and then we go and lose to them, it's ridiculous. Like it's a biggest joke of a club we've had since.
At least don't lose, get a draw.
Exactly. If we set up for a draw, and we would take 2 points off every single other team, and we'd get a point ourselves, and we wouldn't be in the relegation zone at the moment. We'd still be in a relegation battle, of course, but it would be in a better position. And the fact that we've only won 3 games and we're halfway through over halfway through the season is beyond a joke. There's literally no other way to describe our club at the moment. And next season, when we're in the Championship, we're going to have this massive fuck-off stadium for literally no point. They're not going to be able to sell it out. No one's going to want to see this atrocious performance from us. It's spineless. It's boring. Every single time, as you just said, Ryan, we might not have seen it in today's game, but every single week we see the same shower of shit that we see every week. It's the same football. They pass back. They don't pass forward. There's no movement. There's no runs. Everything's aimless. It's beyond a joke, and I'm fed up of watching this team because honestly, it's just depressing week.
But the thing is, these same players, they were doing the same under previous managers as well. This is the thing like if it was just Lampard, yeah, he's out of his depth, and yeah, you can argue his tactics and all the rest of the thing. And it's like, well, yeah, let's get a new manager in, and he'll do something different. But like, will he? Because like DCL is fit now apparently, but you wouldn't.
He was off the pace today as well
because he doesn't run around. He doesn't move. There's no movement. He doesn't. He jumps at the wrong. His timing's off. Jumping for headers. His ball control is atrocious. And he's our number 9. So. Like, you bring in a new manager and say, right, these are the players you've got. Go and win some games. Go and play some good football. Like, how does he do that? How do you turn a gang of shitbags who can't pass the ball to each other and like don't seem to know where the goal is into a
You don't play
side
Coleman
that
and
survives
Mikalenko as
relegation?
attacking wing backs.
Like, I don't. But
You
who
just
do you
don't
He's
play?
lost.
Because we haven't got anyone else.
He's completely
If we
lost
look at
Calvert-Lewin.
today's
Players
game,
that
if
can
you
just
have-
play a flat back four. They
If
still
Coleman
don't
and
know.
if Coleman and
They still don't know how
Mikalenko
to
can't
in
play
a
as
flat
wing
back four
backs,
either.
then you play with a flat back four and you play with wingers. It's quite
But
simple.
they can't play as a flat back four either.
And
We played the
I
flat
read
back four against Brighton. And look what happened. We got torn a new one. We got absolutely torn apart playing a flat back four with three in midfield.
without
against Brighton.
Onana, you didn't have the three good centre midfielders.
We played four at the back against Wolverhampton.
In the last 5 years, the only formation that's worked for us.
Look, if you look at today's
the only
game,
formation that's worked for us in the past 5 years is 4-4-2. 4-4-2 is the only formation that's worked in the past few years in any capacity. Yes, we lose games, we lose the midfield battle, but it gives you that extra man up front. It puts pressure on. You look like more of a threat. We don't have the fullbacks to get forward anyway, so you might as well have the flat back four. They're not going to get forward in a 5. They're not going to get forward in a 3 or a 4. It doesn't make any difference. You play with wingers, you play to Calvert-Lewin's strengths, which is getting the ball in the 6-yard box. His timing his jumps appalling because he's flicking the ball onto himself. He's aimless, he's isolated, he's stood still. I'd be frustrated and fed up, and there's no surprises off his game.
Look, if you look at today's game and the way we played,
the
overall performance was poor. We had chances which, very irritatingly, we didn't score. Iwobi hit the post off a deflection. Iwobi's ball through to Calvert-Lewin was a brilliant ball and a good bit of vision, but Calvert-Lewin was just off the pace, and yeah, he's coming back from injury, so hopefully in time he can finish them. But we had a few chances, and we're just not finishing these chances. Any other team in the league, I guarantee you, will be finishing these simple chances which we should be taking. And again, that's the difference. We haven't got these strikers going forward that know what they're doing. We don't have the target man of who to pass to. And all the other players are like, oh, what should we do? And the only option they have is to pass backwards. We're so backwards in spirit, in mind, in our passing. And the only time we end up doing something is when we lose the ball and then we have to track back. And most of the time it leads to a goal because we're just not with it. We're so switched off. And you see this again when we against Southampton when we were winning 1-0. We come out and at half time, the first thing we do is concede. We're not switched on for a full 90 minutes. And that's why we lose so many games. And we've won only 3 out of our whole season so far. It's pathetic. I think that we're set on getting relegated. I know the table is so close, but the points are from higher up teams. And if we keep losing to all our competition, the reason it was so close last season as well is because we lost and drew to the other relegated battle teams. And it made it far more close than it had to be. We're doing the exact same thing now. And I think getting relegated would be one of the best things for the club at the moment. And we just need to start fresh. Because if we get relegated, we will have a new, fresh thing to start with. Whereas if we carry on the way we are now, we're going through the exact same thing. We're trying to get a new manager. They're going to need time. They're going to need a window to themselves. We don't have the money. We're spending it on a stadium. All these things. It's been going on for however many years. This is not a new problem at our club. This has been going on for years. And while every other team in the Premier League is getting better, improving, and starting to show quality, we are just getting worse and worse and worse. And if you see where we were, let's say 10 years ago, where we were, I don't know, in trying to battle for Europa League, coming down, and now we finished from 5th to 8th to 10th to 12th to 15th, and now we're in the relegation. And we battled it, and we successfully fought it off last season. But this season, we are so poor, and we're probably the worst team in the league. We need a fresh restart.
I don't agree we need to go down, by the way. I'm not being part of that.
Sorry.
I know you two think that, but fair enough, that's on you two.
I'm saying,
I don't think we need to go down. I just think We are.
No, it's what you always say, though.
We
You
deserve to
always
go
say
down.
that.
We deserve to go down.
I don't want to go down.
I obviously don't either. But I'm saying that we
Nobody
literally will not do
wants us
anything
to
else.
go down. I want us to be in Europe and fighting for titles. Like, I'm not wanting us to go down. I don't want us to be relegated. I don't want us to be the worst team in the league. I'm just not willing.
You're saying we deserve to go down. We've got a grudge against Everton.
No, yes, we deserve to go. No, we deserve
Oh,
to go
wow,
down.
they've gone down.
Right?
Yeah, big grudge. Well
We
done.
des-
They deserve
right,
it. The
we
players
deserve-
have really
No,
learned.
no,
They
we
deserve
deserve
it.
to go down because we're the worst team in the league. No, the league table does not lie, right? We've got forwards who don't score goals, midfielders who can't pass to each other, defenders who cannot defend, right? If you look at every single metric in the fucking league, we are the worst. We're the worst defensively, we're the worst in midfield, we're the worst in at the back, right? We are a really poor side. We've got no squad depth. We've got, like, we're poorly managed. We're poorly run by the owners. We are, by every metric, the worst run club in the Premier League, the worst performing team in the Premier League. So like, as a non-Everton fan, if you were to look as a neutral from the outside and say, who's the worst team in this league? Everton. So therefore, Everton
I want to make one point about
because
Spaghetti in a second.
the league table doesn't lie. The worst teams get relegated, and we are definitely one of the worst teams. So therefore, we will get relegated based on that. That's not me wanting it to happen. That's not me thinking that I want Everton to suffer. That's just reality. Like, I don't do fucking delusion. Like, reality is reality. We are one of the worst sides in the league. And on that basis, I can't see us doing anything other than getting relegated because I don't see how this team win games. We don't score goals. We don't keep clean sheets. Our midfield is non-existent. And we're slow. We're slow in the head as well. There's no creativity in the side, or very little creativity. It's just reality. It's not me wanting something to happen. I don't want Everton to be a failure.
I'd understand if you're saying we're playing. If we keep playing like this, we'll go down. Fair enough. But we deserve to go down. We deserve it. Let Everton have it. We deserve it. It's the wrong.
What, do you think we deserve Europa League Championship and to win the title?
That's just the stupidest thing I've ever heard, Jonathan, mate. Do you really think we deserve that?
To go down. We're the worst team in the league.
Yeah,
we're the worst team
better than us.
If we keep playing like this, then of course we'll go down. Simple as. Everyone knows that. Who doesn't know that?
Hang on. You know, the thing that annoys me the most about this situation is because when we've been at the bottom, and by the way, sorry for shouting before, I had a lot of motorway noise and I didn't know that it was coming across like that. The thing that annoys me the most about this situation when I compare it with other situations in the past where we've been at the bottom of the league, I felt like some of the other managers like Marco Silva were actually quite unlucky with results. If you look at certain games, certain decisions and things wouldn't go against them. That isn't the case with Lampard. You know, I don't think he's been robbed of bad decisions and refereeing things and injuries. He hasn't. He's just not getting the best out of these players. He's chopping and changing his system week in, week out. I don't think we've got an ball as much as anything as well. And the players, you know, there hasn't been much investment in that, but still someone's got to do.
Why is Jonathan gone now? Why does he go
more with this group? I think
he was in the car, so his signal's probably a bit ropey.
And you missed the point here. At the moment, we're in the bottom. I'm still there. Sorry. How much of that did you hear?
Can you hear me? None of it. Probably good. Because you said Dan. Oh, bloody hell. Everton.
Yeah, right.
Sorry.
Go on then. What are you going to say then?
If the season ended today, would anyone honestly sit around and say that we were unlucky to go down? We didn't deserve it. I think I'd say we're just the worst team. We were bad in every match.
Everyone knows that though. That's just that we all know that.
Yeah, but that's
happened to
exactly
John?
what I've been saying. It's not a case of
ran away because he got heated.
I don't want us to get relegated. I don't want us to be the worst team in the league. I'd love us to be brilliant and playing great football and winning matches. But the fact is, we've played 20 games now, and we've won 3. And to be fair, we were lucky to win 2 of those as well. So, like that, just from a neutral point of view, football is a competition. It's a league of 20 teams, and the team that goes down deserves to go down because they're the worst team of the 20 teams in the league. The 3 teams
over 38 games.
Yeah, the 3 teams that are the worst over the whole course of the season get relegated. So they deserve to get relegated because they've put themselves in that position. They're the worst teams in the league. So when I say we deserve to go down, it's not like I want us to go down or I'm happy about us going down or that I wouldn't love us to survive somehow by the skin of our teeth if we got a new manager in and everything went our way and we had the greatest luck in the world and we survived on the last day like we did last season. I'd be delighted with that. Sound Premier League again and we can sort something out. But I've just watched this team. I've watched us in the flesh. I've watched us on the telly. I've watched us for years and years and years. I've been supporting Everton for 50 years. This is the worst team I've ever seen. This is the worst Everton side I've ever seen. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. And that's not just because they're all rubbish players, because they're not. Some of them can play a lot better than they are. But this is the most soulless, disorganized rabble of players. We've got players who are supposed to be our young prodigies, making Batty Eilishes to Newcastle and any club that will take them, in Gordon. Yeah, you think that he's suddenly dropped off and become shit because of any other reason than the fact that he wanted to move to Chelsea and he didn't get it and he's seen his arse and he's been shite ever since. And now he's making eyelashes at any club that is going to put in an offer for him. So anyone who's halfway decent is going to want out the door. And you can see it. And they play like a team that don't want to be here. They literally play like a team that just doesn't have the heart for this fight. I don't see players who are playing for the shirt, for the badge, for the fans. I just don't see it. I see a team of players who run around a little bit and then lose because they just don't have it in them to win games. And I wish I was wrong, and I wish it wasn't true, but it just is true. We're just shit. We're just shit, and we've got shit players. And I don't see how a new manager at this stage of the game, after because this is the thing is, we've consistently got worse year on year. This isn't just now. We've been going downhill, year upon year upon year. Even under Carlo, we finished mid-table. That was our high watermark. But we've just been getting worse and worse, and we've been selling better players and buying worse players. That's a recipe for relegation. If all of you good players keep leaving and you replace them with players who aren't as good as the players you're selling, then you're just going to get worse. And in the meantime, exactly at the same time as this is happening, other teams are coming along and buying players that are better. They're improving their sides. Players like, Brighton and teams like Brentford.
They've all brought in better managers.
They're literally stepping up while we're stepping back. So that's why we deserve to go down based on what I'm seeing. And it's just a case of, it's just reality. I can't lie about what I'm seeing and what I've been watching and what I'm hearing from the board.
That was your peak, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was your peak under Ancelotti, 10th place finish, and realistically we were second at one point and we were fourth for most of the season. The last 10 games we had James Rodriguez injured and Decore injured, and we fell off a cliff, and that was the peak of our squad as a result of not reaching the ambition and probably not having that bit of strength and depth. We've sunk and sunk and sunk. We've
Yeah.
been forced to strip every asset and every decent footballer away from the club because we've never been able to manage them properly. And you reap what you sow. And we are where we are for a reason. You know, all these other clubs, you're right, Jeff, they've all invested. They've all got money to spend. Everyone's got a billionaire owner. That doesn't make a difference. But if everyone's buying players, everyone's betting the best manager. Look at Emery, who's gone to Villa. Look at Howe, who's gone to Newcastle. Everyone's getting decent managers while we stagnate and stand still. And that's why we are where we are. There's no other reason why. We just have the worst combination of things going against us.
Yeah, literally
It's
without the
Jonathan again.
stadium, without the stadium, like literally the stadium is the only positive thing from the last 3 years at all. Like that's literally it, and we've been holding our hopes on the stadium. We can get to the stadium and things will improve. But the people
I'd
who are
rather have a
actually building the
decent team in a
stadium,
crap stadium.
yeah, the people who are building the stadium are actually qualified professional people who know what they're doing. And that's their job, is to just build the stadium. It's nothing to do with the club. They're just doing that thing. And they're really good at doing what they do because they're professionals with experience. But we've got an owner who's clueless at making football decisions. We've got a CEO who basically doesn't know how to deal with like the professional things of running a football club. We've got a chairman who is so deeply flawed and egotistical that like all he cares about is his statue and the stadium. That's it. And then we brought in other people to do the business of running the club, but then we ignore them. Like we brought in professional people before, and then we ignored them. Like
You only need a new stadium when you haven't got the space. You want more fans to come and watch you win the games. And when you're up going first, or when you're in Champions League or Europa League and your club's doing well, that's when you move into a new stadium. You want more fans. You want to increase the noise. Goodison Park is a good place to be when you have the noise and the atmosphere and you've got the fans behind you. Why on earth would you want to move to a new stadium when we're going to be in the Championship or fighting relegation? There is absolutely 0 point in having this brand new stadium if we're not going to fill it up. No one's going to want to be there. It's going to be a joke to be in the Championship with one of the biggest stadiums out there. Like, what is the point? I'd rather be in Goodison and invest the ridiculous amount of money that we put into the new stadium into a good team. We have wasted millions on players that do not know how to play football. And we're getting a new stadium to watch in the Championship. What's the point? There is no point. It's ridiculous.
It does feel sad. It does feel sad. It's hard to find hope. That's the thing is, like, I want to find hope. Like, I'd love, like, if we were going out and signing, like, 3 or 4, like, genuinely quality players, and then, like, getting a new manager and you think, like, there's hope for the second half of the season, but it's like, we're bringing in, like, a player on loan who's been suffering with injuries and out of form. And he's our hope. Like, because we're not buying anyone else, as far as I'm aware. You know, like, we're supposedly looking at players, but we don't want to spend money. And it kind of feels like the board have accepted the fact that we might get relegated, and they don't want to invest in the team. They don't want to invest in the club. So they're only willing to sanction loan deals, and they don't want loans with even like an obligation to buy the player at the end of it or whatever. Like the guy we're supposedly loaning for Danjuma, there's not even an option to buy. It's just a loan for the remainder of the season, and then he goes back with nothing. So it's like,
the thing is with me though, I've just seen the comments saying, "Oh, why is Dan not speaking speech?" So I'm not speechless. I'm just not going to be majorly depressed because it's not going to help anything. It doesn't solve anything. I can go on about the shit all day fucking long. It's just going to make me more down. I know the situation. I'm not deluded. But fact is, we need a new manager. We need a frigging new manager. Lampard has been shit. I don't care what people say. Yes,
No, he is, yeah.
This team is hard. This team massively has a good chance on going down. But is Lampard massively helping them go down? Yes, he is. The manager should have been changed a long time ago. Now, this game, let me just say something. This game, I thought we was going to get battered, but at the start of the game, we had a lot more possession than I thought. We actually had the ball. And I was thinking to myself, West Ham ain't that good either. If we actually had attacking players on the frigging pitch, instead of just Damari Gray and Calvert-Lewin, the shittest formation ever, we might have been able to make this West Ham team pay for fucking not looking that good either. But we didn't. We actually had a lot of possession, more possession than I thought, but we were set up that shit that when we had possession, we had a Coleman and Mikalenko doing nothing on the frigging wings. Damari Gray up top with Calvert. 4-2-3 would have helped. 4-2-3-1 would have helped massively today.
Yeah, guys.
Ourselves today, honestly, you watch that game back. We was in that game with possession. West Ham wasn't that good either. But
what we do with possession is we pass the ball backwards. We're not doing anything creative.
The formation, you can't pass the ball forward. Who we got up top to pass the ball forward to? You need to have.
You make runs. You give and go with the ball. They're just standing there, turn around and be like, "Oh, fuck this," and pass backwards.
If you're in
wants to move.
I've just got to say something because I'm literally just pulled up to my gig, so I've got to get changed and get everything set up. But I'll let you continue because you've all made great points, and I know everyone's watching.
I've done anyway.
I want to make a couple of closing points from my perspective. Then I'll be listening to you guys on my headphones while I'm setting up. You're right. You know, you don't have players that pass a move and take one or two touches. So even the things that even the least talented players could do, such as moving the ball quicker, taking one or two touches on the ball and moving into space off the ball, we don't do those sorts of things. And that's what makes me think that these players haven't been coached properly.
Didn't say that.
There's a difference between the limitations of the individual and the collective problems we've got through the lack of coaching. And I think we have both. We have a manager who doesn't coach them and isn't getting the best out of the players he has got, whether he's being changed or not. And then we've got players who don't follow instructions or can't implement them, or, you know, can't do the basic things that make football, you know, be hard to be ruthless and be and you know, have patterns of play going forward. So it's a recipe. It's a recipe for a disaster, and I'm at my wit's end with it. And I look forward to listening to the rest of what you guys have got to say.
I'm about done. I don't know how long we've got left on this.
Are you sure?
There's not much more to say. On one of the comments, I'm not saying that friggin' Sims or friggin' McNeil was the answer, but I would have rather have seen them on than bring friggin' midfielders on. I don't know what we tried to do that second half. I really don't. They sat back. I would have put strikers on because they sat back and just wanted to take the frigging whack. And if they just sit back, I would have frigging at least chuck some strike. I don't understand. McNeil, I don't think he's good enough, but I'd chuck him on. You've signed him. Chuck him on up top with Calvert-Lewin if you're 2-0 down. If Sims, you brought him back, chuck him on. I'm not saying the fucking answer, but I'd at least put strikers on. Because for me, playing those three in midfield, they just don't try when there's a free. They just sit there all together and get in each other's way. I would have said, right, 2 in the centre of midfield, we'll push one up. We're 2-0 down. I just would have done that, in my opinion. Not saying it would have won, but I'd at least try things that can fucking make you win. What's this one say?
I don't disagree with Dan. And like the manager has to go. He doesn't know what he's doing, and yeah, we have to try something different. We have to try a different manager. There's no doubt that we have to try a different manager because this manager clearly doesn't know what he's doing and he isn't working. And like maybe if we get a new manager in, they'll have new ideas and a new, you know. But like I still come down to it is like I don't know who could come in and turn this ship around. I don't see who can do this job because, like I said, we've got Arsenal next, then we've got Liverpool. So that's probably 2 heavy defeats. Probably 2 heavy defeats. So then the new manager's got to come in, and he's going to have, like, after those 2 games are done, he's going to have 17 games. He's going to have a team that's bottom of the league, a closed window, like a bunch of players who are woefully out of form, totally lacking in confidence, and he's got to turn this around and save the team. So, like, I don't know who's going to do, who has the capability to do that job. It's going to take an actual miracle, like a genuine come to Jesus moment of, we need an absolute miracle. Like Pep Guardiola couldn't save this bunch. Like, genuinely name the best managers in the world of football, and then put them in the dugout at Everton, and they're not going to suddenly turn.
I'm not even bothered about this.
Into a great side. I just don't see how that's possible.
For me, all you can do, whether it makes you stay up or not, all you can do is just work with the problem in front of you. And if you can make it better, you make it better.
Yeah, and I'm all for change.
Yeah, whether it's going to be good enough to stay up, I don't know. Probably not. I don't know. Like you say, things are shit, but I can't watch every week us being miles shitter. I'd rather someone come in and make it a bit better if they can. You just got to try. Like, I'm not saying that.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm definitely not saying don't try. I'm definitely not
change the manager. Like, we all think change the manager, and I just think we all think changing the manager is going to be better. And Lampard is getting it wrong on top of the players not being good enough. You've got to.
What really annoys is the fact that we knew. And this is what really annoys, and this goes back to the fundamental problem of the club, is we all knew that we should never have appointed that Spanish waiter to be the manager of an Everton Football Club. It was never a smart move. It was never a good move. We all knew it was a stupid idea. But our owner did it anyway, because that's the kind of person that he is, right? So then he tries to employ like after he sacks that manager, and this is what makes me really more worried than anything else, is when did he sack him? After he'd signed 2 players, after he'd signed Mikalenko and Patterson and sold Digne, he then fired him and then brings Frank Lampard in with 1 day of the window left and no money to spend, and he gets a couple of loans in as a Hail Mary thing, which didn't work. And we survived literally by the skin of our teeth, pure fortune. And then in the summer, we had an opportunity to go out and rectify these changes. But what we did is we sold our best player and didn't replace him. And we brought in poor championship, poor Premier League level players that other teams wouldn't really want, wouldn't be first on their shopping list. None of the players that we brought in were players that other teams wanted. And we brought those players in as if they were going to turn this ship around. And then we were like, well, yeah, but he's going to sign a striker. But what he did was he loaned out the one centre forward that we had that was fit after DCL got injured. Literally the next day, let Sims go out on loan. So we started the season with no strikers at all.
I hope the link's dry on that Danjuma deal, because he might be back. I think it'll definitely help from what I've seen today. We need a few attacking players. It's predictable. It's boring.
Definitely.
In front of freaking.
But the mad thing is like Danjuma has said, the reason he's coming is because of Lampard. That was literally the quote in the paper today, is he's coming to Everton because of Lampard. And then Lampard is going to be out the fucking door. But, like, he's not signed in any kind of permanent way. He's only on loan for the season. So it's no skin off his nose. If we get relegated, he can just go back to Spain.
He's gone out of form with his injuries, and he's hungry to come back and make a name for himself like he did at Bournemouth before he made that big move. And if he wants to come back and make a name for himself, I'm game for that.
I'm hoping he does like a Kevin Campbell. Like that's what I'm hoping is he can be like a Kevin Campbell who can come in and just turn it around kind of thing. But
100%. With our budget, it's not going to be players that are fucking smashing it because they're going to cost a lot of money.
I'm just.
No. I've set my mind. I said this before the game today. If we fucking lose, I move on and I just go to the next game and I try and win that. Because there's no point dwelling on it for me. Because
I just don't have hope anymore. I don't.
No, I'm not deluded. I'm not deluded. I know how shit we are, and I know how bad these players can be, and I know this is the hardest challenge I've ever known Everton to have to stay up. But if I cry about frigging us being this shit and bring everything out the closet about Everton that's shit, it's not going to help me for the next game. Now, all I want to do is just go into the next game, try and get better, and just keep working to try and stay up. And if we don't, fair enough. But we've got to keep trying to stay up. And if we don't, we don't.
Have you ever had a girlfriend, right? Who really toxic? Right? Have you ever been in one of those really toxic relationships where you're with a girl and you love her to bits, but she's basically a cunt, right? And you know you should dump her because all she does is bring misery into your life, but you stay with her because you love her. But she's just ruining your life and making every day a misery for you. And you only dump her like far too late after she's literally done everything. Like she's had it off with your best mate, like sold your dog, like, whatever it is. That's being an Everton fan. That's what it feels like to be an Everton fan. Is I'm in a toxic relationship with a football club that doesn't give a rat's ass about me and hates me and ruins my life. And let
it out, Jeff. Let it out. Who was she?
Mate, honest to God, it just feels
Jeff trying to say, why did you be nasty to Jeff like that? Why was you like that to Jeff? Oh, Everton, fuck it, man. We've got to be used to it. Everton ain't been good for a long time. We just got we're used to frigging not smashing it every game. Just knuckle down. It is what it is. To be fair, I'm not being funny. This is the rebuild moment now, and it's when Everton are going to be at the weakest. And we've moved Gomez on. We've got rid of a lot of players, and the squad's thinner than it's ever been because we've moved a lot of players on. Now, it is what it is.
Nice one. There you go. The Blues, you say, Dan, if another manager doesn't take, will you eat humble pie?
Yeah. I just want a new manager.
Yeah,
I just want a new manager. I'm not saying the new manager's going to keep us up, but I know Lampard's making a good job.
How are you doing, Rose? I know you're as miserable as we all are, but I'm glad we're entertaining you anyway. So,
I didn't even want to come on. I didn't even want to come on today. Not because I'm
joining Rose.
I didn't even want to come on. Not because I'll always face the music. I don't give a shit, mate. But I didn't want to come on because I can't be asked to be more negative than I need to be.
I don't know, but sometimes this feels a bit cathartic because it's like I can do this video and I can get it all out and I can vent and rage.
Yeah, the rest of it.
And then I can shut the computer off and I get on with my day. Do you know what I mean? And it's just
I do normally come on and kick off, but I'm focused. I know the situation. I know we're really bad, and I'm not happy with the way we played today. I really thought Lampard massively got it wrong. Now, do I think the players was bad as well? Yes, but I think for how, like you say, Jeff, when the squad's not good enough, the way we were set up, it doesn't suit them. And I read Rob say, Dave Weston say earlier on, we played the wing backs against Man United and we was all right. But I did say against Man United, when we play these wing backs and we're in possession and they go up, they get caught out and it doesn't work because they stay up and we end up with three at the back and we get done. Rashford completely frigging did it.
Yeah, but the problem is that we end up with three at the back. You say like that is like a bad thing. But teams who play that system
have got good wingers.
Right, but even if those wingers lose the ball, they've still got the three at the back. That's the whole point, is those three at the back are supposed to be insurance. But ours aren't insurance. Those three at the back should be enough to screen for the fact that our wingers are up the field. Those three at the back, that's the whole point of the system, is have those 3 at the back, and they sit there deep, and we've got a number 6 in front of that. So
But-
there's 4 players who should still be able to actually stop this stuff, even if the wing backs are forward. But they can't.
They should
because they're
still.
rubbish.
This is this one though. They should still be able to deal with it. Completely agree. But when you play that formation with wing backs, if your wing backs are good, it's worth the risk because your wing backs are getting you a lot of attacking stuff going on up there. But if your wing backs ain't good like ours and they're always passing it back, it puts your 3 centre backs under pressure a lot more than what they should be. Now, if the wing backs are good, it helps because you're not under pressure. It's worth the risk. But with ours, Coleman and Mikulenko, you feed it to them out wide, and they'll pass it back to the centre backs. Now, that's not wing backs for me. They've got to look. We need wing backs that are going to take them on. And
that goes back to the original point I made, which is that this team isn't very good.
But I understand.
It doesn't matter what system you play, right?
I wouldn't play that system if they're not good enough.
Let's go through this team. Damari Gray can't cross a ball. McNeil can't cross a ball.
McNeil can't.
Mikulenko can't cross a ball. Right? So like it doesn't matter. Like you get the ball wide to them. They don't beat the first man. Or they turn and pass it backwards. But they don't have the ability to whip across it. So like it doesn't matter what system you play, and this is the point I was making originally. It's like, yeah, okay, there's culpability on Lampard, and I'm not trying to deflect from the culpability of the manager. But what I will say is, who the hell is a new manager going to play that's going to make a difference? We've got wingers who can't cross the ball, and who can't beat a man. And this is the important thing is, no matter what system you play, whether it's wing backs or whether it's just 4-4-2 with wingers or whether it's 4-3-3 with wide men, you have to have a player who can beat a man and then deliver the cross. If we don't have the player who can beat a man, we have a player who can basically try and go past someone and fall over, or try and put a cross in and hit the first man. We don't have the quality down the wings in any of the wing positions, whether it's wing back or winger, or who can actually beat a man and whip a ball in for a striker to run onto. So then you've got a striker who's flat-footed because if he makes the run, the ball doesn't come to him. If he sits back, the ball doesn't get near him, and he gets out-muscled by... He's usually outmanned by 2 or 3 good defenders. Then you've got like a midfield. We've got no creativity. We've got no one really, apart from Iwobi when he occasionally does something, who can actually play through the lines for a player to run onto. So it's like, well, what? I don't understand what any manager... Like, even if Lampard goes, which he deserves to go based on performances, based on everything, being a nice guy isn't enough of a qualification to be a manager of a Premier League football club. He just doesn't have the ability to do this job, and he hasn't improved the players and all of that, and that's fine. But then you bring somebody else in, and like I don't see how like you
hopefully
can turn a silk purse into a Sousier. I don't see how that's possible.
Hopefully this Dan Juma's good, and we sign another winger.
He needs to be very good.
I think we'll sign another winger, and hopefully we get a centre forward as well. And Townsend's coming back, which we massively need. Townsend back might be a big help in a relegation battle. And James Garner, I think Garner again needs a little bit of a drop because I don't think he's nowhere near good enough at the minute.
It's dreadful.
So yeah, I think James Garner could be a good little fucking move. It is what it is. There's fucking shit.
Yeah,
it is.
I mean, James Garner coming in would hopefully help because he can actually like take a free kick in a corner properly and stuff like that, and he's a good young player. And I think going back to what me and Jonathan were saying about like getting relegated. right? This isn't to say that I want to be relegated.
I'm not. I can't. I'm related.
No, no. Let me just. But this is the point I'm trying to make, right? Is if we get relegated, right? We have got a core of young players that we could build a team around for the future and put things to so we can get rid of all of the overpaid players. We can sell players like Pickford and Gordon and Iwobi and all the other players who are on ridiculous money, get them all out the door. And then you've got players like Patterson, like James Garner, Anana if he actually stays. There are some other good young players. We've got a couple of players out on loan. And you could build a side for the championship. And it might take a couple of years for those players to all sort of gel together. And you bring in a good young manager. Like, have you seen Stephen Schumacher at Plymouth? Like, I think they're like
relegation. I'm not in relegation.
No, I don't. I'm just making a point, is because the idea that I'm constantly negative is it's not true. I'm just realistic, and I always.
I know we could get relegated, but I will.
But we have to accept facts, right? We don't want it to happen, but that doesn't mean it isn't going to happen. Because wanting something not to happen doesn't.
But when it happens, that's when it happens. When it happens, it happens. There's no point saying this early on in the season about relegation when we've got that many games ahead.
There is. There absolutely is. I do not agree with you at all.
Yeah, we don't have to agree.
No, but like I said, I'm trying to make a point, right? So there is a point in making this, right? Is you don't have to accept reality, right? Until reality slaps you in the face, right? You can hope and pray that like we're going to stay up. Right, and that's fine. Okay, we all want us to stay up and whatever. But there's a thing where it's like complete doom if we get relegated. It's like the end of Everton. We're gonna everything is all.
People don't know though, Jeff. You don't know,
right? But what I'm saying is if people make the right decisions, if we could come back. This is the thing: is we have to have some kind of hope. Because otherwise, we might as well just go home, right? I don't see this team surviving. I just don't. I really don't. And I think bringing in a dinosaur manager at this point, like a Sean Dyche, is a bit like a Hail Mary. It's like he might be able to do something. He might be able to get us to survive. But if he doesn't, then you just end up with another manager who he's going to be in the championship. Is he the guy who's going to get us promoted? Has he got a vision for the future, or is he a dinosaur manager? So, to me, if we get relegated, the opportunity for us as a club is a reset, like a proper reset after 30 years of watching this team just get worse and worse and worse. We could start again, and we could get like a good young manager like a Stephen Schumacher, who's doing great things at Plymouth. A dynamic, vibrant young manager. You could bring him in, bring in some of the younger players, some of the players that we've got who are decent, add in a few bits of quality, build a side to get ourselves promoted back again with a vision and an identity. That's the only hope that I can see. Because if things don't change, if this owner continues to be useless, if we can't sell the club, where's the hope? Because I just don't see it. I don't see it, and I'm struggling. I want to find some reason for optimism, and it's only the idea that things might change if we get relegated, seriously, properly change. That's the only reason that's the only thing I can have that makes me feel like it could end up being a positive. New young players, build a side with an identity, people who play for the badge, who care. They're not there for the money. They're not there for ego or whatever. They're just there for Everton Football Club, and build something and start again. And Phoenix from the Flames kind of situation. That's my only hope, because I don't have any other hope otherwise. I just don't, because my football club is dying. And 50 years of watching this team. This is the worst. This is the worst.
I understand. You, like I say, everyone thinks the way they're thinking. You're entitled to think like what you think, what I think, but I don't. You, I know you probably say you know a lot of stuff, but you don't know. Like you probably think you know, but neither do I. You might be right. Your story might be right, but it might be wrong. If we got relegated, the sanctions that we got. I know you say you've got a year, but if you don't do what you've got to do in that year, we could go down to another league. I mean, I remember the Bobble saying a bit back, like if Everton went down, it will destroy the club. Like I honestly think that in my head, and I know get what you're saying, and you always tell me it won't, but I think what I think, and I think if we went down, a lot more worse shit is going to happen than what you say, and it's not going to be all this fairy tale story that we transform.
No. I'm not saying it's a fairy tale. What I'm saying is
I think it's dangerous.
Do you know what's going to happen if we get relegated?
We accept it, and then we do.
No. A billionaire, fucking idiot who's ruined this football club is going to lose a shit ton of money. That's literally what's going to happen. Is pampered, overpaid players are going to be like rats looking for the exit. They're going to be off. Like the players who put us in this situation are going to be out the door as quick as they can manage it, right? The board who put us in this situation, they'll be gone. Ken Wright, that's his legacy, getting us relegated. They'll be gone. The owner is going to be in a situation where he's desperate, so he's going to have to bring in new blood, either sell the club or he's going to have to bring in new blood, which is board level vision and some kind of change is going to have to happen, right? Because he's invested too much money to just go, oh well, we're just going to accept that and go down to League One. He's not going to want that, so he's going to have to face reality and change things. He's going to have to change things at board level. He's going to have to bring in professional people. He's going to have to probably bring in someone like an investor, like a someone else will buy into the club, who's got an actual vision for running a football club, and Mashiri will step back. It's going to have to happen like that, and then we can start again. And the stadium is still there; it's still being built. They're not going to stop building it because, like, I'm literally watching pictures of it this week. The roof stuff's and added and all that. So the stadium is still going to happen. A lot of fans are like, oh, the stadium's going to be off the table. No, it's not. It's going to happen because contracts are signed, the building's going up. Like, it's literally going up as we speak. So the stadium will still happen. And Everton Football Club won't cease to exist if we get relegated. It won't. We'll go down and we'll suffer. But what will happen for us fans is next first of the month, if we're in the different division, we will all turn up and we will support the team that wears our shirt, and we'll be cheering for a team to fight to get back into the Premier League. We will still be Everton fans. We will still support our team, and we will still hope for the best. So they will leave. Most of them are already gone, mate.
Yeah, no, there are a lot of them. It's already said there. A lot of them have still got massive contracts.
Okay, Dave. Right, Dave. So Iwobi has got 1 year left on his contract after this season. He's not going to sign a new one because we're not going to offer it to him. It's already the contract offer's been withdrawn. Pickford will definitely leave. He's only got 1 year left on his contract. The Curry's out the door at the end of the season. He's out of contract. Davies is out of contract. So all this stuff about like, oh, we're going to be in an absolute disaster. All these players they're not on massive contracts. There's only 2 or 3 players that are still on big contracts.
Dele Alli's still on a contract. Gomez is still on a contract. Gomez is still on a contract.
Yeah, but he'll be out next year. That's what I'm saying. We've only got 1 year of most of these players. That's what I said. So if you go down, you get 1 year to sort it out, right? And what I'm telling you is those players that you've mentioned, your Gomez, your Gabamins, people, they've only got 1 year left, even if we get relegated, right? So within a year of us going down, all of the people on the big money will be gone. That's the year that you get when you get relegated. You get a year to sort the finances out.
And if you don't, you're fucked. And if you don't, you're fucked. I don't want the risk.
We're not fucked. We're not fucked. The
Our
owners are fucked.
Our club's
The owners are fucked. That's the whole point.
It could affect our club. I get your point, and I get that's the way you think, but a lot of you've got to understand that 50% of other people don't think like that and do think
we're passionately involved in a football club, and we get scared about because it's like.
But you don't know. You're saying it like you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know.
All we can see is disaster. All we can see is disaster. Like we're disaster. Like as a culture, as like people, human beings, the world's like everything's a disaster. Like there's no middle ground. Everything's either amazing or a disaster. There's no kind of like rational middle ground. It's like, oh, if we get relegated, it's the end of the club. No, it isn't. Everton's a 150-year-old institution of British football. It will not end because we get relegated. It won't. It will still exist, and it will still exist for another 150 years because Everton Football Club is an institution of football. So, yes, things will be bad and things will... I'm not saying it won't be tough times. It will be really sad if we get relegated. But reality is reality. This team is getting relegated. It's just not good enough to stay in this league. It just doesn't have the required quality.
It's not a conversation that I need to have right now, though.
It's a conversation, but that's the whole point. It's a conversation.
Yeah, but if we talk about relegation every day on the channel halfway through the season, it's going to be boring.
But you've got to prepare for the worst.
Yeah, but they've got to prepare. We're not running the football club.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying, is burying your head in the sand and hoping it won't happen.
I'm not hoping it won't happen. If it happens, then they've got to deal with it. But they're talking about it. It's depressing. If it happens, it happens, and we know it could happen.
And watching Everton isn't depressing. It is depressing.
Do I look like I'm happy? I'm not.
No, exactly. But the point is, not talking
it is what it is.
But there's no point in not talking about it. That's my.
We have talked about it, but like I say, you said what you think, but 24/7 just on the channel, just saying what's going to happen when we're in the Championship halfway through the season. It's just I can't be asked to listen to that.
We have to prepare for it.
No, we have to mentally. We're not running the football club. We just support everything.
Right, as fans, we have to mentally prepare for the worst. Because otherwise, it will break us as a fan base. If we've all prepared for it and accepted that it might just happen.
Never going to happen.
Right. Exactly. That's the whole point, is if you just bury your head in your sand and say, it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. When it does actually happen, you're not mentally prepared.
Yeah, I'm just because you know you have
to cope with it. Like reality is what reality is. And I'm preparing for the fact that if that happens, this is what I will think, and that's it. That's all I'm doing. It is just preparing.
I don't get that, because you say, like, if it comes to the end of the season, I've said, let's stay up, and then we lose and we go down. I don't need to be mentally prepared for it. Wow, we are just accepting.
The whole fan base does. We have to prepare as a fan base. Because
you'll think the same if you go down and you're prepared for it, or you're not. It's still the same thought. It's you just support them, and if it happens, it happens. If it don't,
if we have the conversation, if I have the conversation, it's in people's minds that it's a possibility, that it's a reality that we can face, and if we just face reality, we can move on and accept it. And it is depressing, but
see what happens and be depressed when you're supposed to be depressed. There's no point being depressed all the way through the season. It's halfway.
I'm not going to be I'm not going to be depressed if we get relegated. I'm not. That's the whole point.
It is what it is. If you get relegated, we're being shit. But
I've prepared for it in advance. That's the whole point. Is
I just say it's boring to talk about it 24/7 about what exactly in detail what's going to happen if we get relegated when we haven't even got relegated yet.
Right, okay, so we just don't talk about it then.
Well, we have talked about it.
That's fine. Well, I'll just not talk about reality again for the whole rest of the stream.
Well, imagine coming on to a channel and just someone talking about being in the Championship when you're in the Premiership.
We're bottom of the fucking league, and we're the worst team in the league, and
we all know that.
That's reality. So let's pretend that that's not going to happen, and that a miracle's going to happen, and some white knight on a horse is going to come in and save us from reality. Okay, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's promote like the delusion until like reality actually slaps us in the face.
You don't have to protect everyone, though. Everyone knows the situation. It's like not delusion. It's not heads in the sand. Everyone knows what it. That's
exactly.
fact.
So the whole point is we can talk about it without it being a touchy subject that you can't talk about.
I have talked about it, but the whole channel talking about it. I'll let you speak the whole thing and listen to you. That's fine.
Right. So that's the whole point. So yeah,
I'll listen to you the whole thing. I said that's what Jeff thinks, and this is what I think. That's it. I did talk about it. It wasn't a touchy subject because I did book it and I let you speak every single word you wanted to. So it wasn't touchy. I listened, but it's like I say, if it happens, it happens. That's it. Simple as that. If it happens, then that's it. We're in the Championship. We support Everton in the Championship. At the minute, I'll watch them next game. They're in the Premier League. I'll watch them if they win. If they lose, they lose. Simple as. Right.
Do you want to read a few texts before we go? A few messages.
It's not an argument. It's just like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But we are about to shut this down anyway because we said an hour and a half. Not shutting it down because we're arguing this time for once, but it is what it is. I think me and Jeff have learned to just respect that we often think different. We don't really take it personal. Okay. We know we're going to clash because what Jeff thinks is completely different to what I think, and we're not going to change our minds. So it's always he'll say what he thinks, I'll say what I think, and it's always going to clash. Unfortunately, when things are going bad. Oh, never mind Everton, eh? Fuck, you know.
This is what they've brought us to, mate. This is what they've brought us to.
It is what it is.
Assholes.
They've been shit a long time, haven't they? So it is what it is. It's a shame that the club, with such good fans, that the club can't just let us be happy, like jumping around on the channel because we're buzzing when we're happy. But because we're so passionate, we're not that nice when we're fucking shit. So it is what it is. And every fan base is the same. Every fan base is the same. When look at Arsenal, fucking, it was disgusting when they was on the massive down. And look at them now, they're all buzzing. It is what it is. I'm 64 and very depressed. Mate, if it makes you feel any better, watching us on the channel, mate, we're not fucking happy. So don't worry. don't worry. If you agree with Jeff, you say you don't agree with me, but I don't give a shit, so that's fine.
No, I'm trying to.
I don't give a shit.
I'm looking through messages, trying to find people who are on our side.
To be fair, there
you go.
Whatever.
There's still 8 teams to go.
Yeah, Dave Weston's a little bugger because he's Mr. Negative and Mr. Positive. He's like, from what I get from him in the comments, when he can have a little rant, but then he wants to boost us back up and he'll try and be positive after. And it is.
Well, the thing is, like I said, I don't want this to happen.
I'd
love a new manager to come in, and I'd love 3 or 4 new players to come in, and let's go on an amazing run and be sound. And if that happens, like sound, that's brilliant. That's amazing. And like,
it's going to be fun because I tell you something. This window is going to be interesting because I think like Gordon is going to be gone now because he's like to Newcastle Post.
We definitely all agree on that. Robbie.
Going to be gone, and if Gordon goes, it might change the window big time. This window is going to be interesting. It's going to be a naughty window. See what happens. We need it to be with what we're like. Right, Jeff, I'm going to hit that banner. But I haven't got no positive words for anyone on. Just go and forget about Everton, and then you'll be happy. Do you know what I mean? Just go and forget about them for an hour or 2 if you can. But,
Sorry, I'm just trying to read some of the messages out before we go.
Yeah, I've let you.
There's been a lot of people on the channel. Don't forget to like, comment, and share, and all that good stuff. Oh, hang on. Ryan's back. Hello, Ryan.
I'm done, Ryan. I'm out, mate. I'm out.
Oh, looking suave, my mate. Looking suave.
Thank you.
We're going to wrap it.
You can wrap it up in a moment anyway. But I've been listening to the whole thing you've said, and you're so right. Both of you, you make such valid points, and your opinions are strong.
Clash. We didn't. We close the argument, but hey ho.
I really wanted to say that Newcastle were in this position last season, actually further on, I think. And they ended up, look where they ended up and look where they are now. So it's down to the board to get a grip of the situation now and appoint a competent coach, for the players to have a change in mentality and attitude, and to take some risks in the transfer market.
I like that, because you're not saying Newcastle coming up from the Championship. You're saying Newcastle stayed in the league.
Yeah, forget that.
Yeah, I can't do it.
If we go down, it'll be a complete mess. Anyway, peace out.
Yeah. See you later, and I'll drop the banner now.
Nice one. Thanks everyone.
Thanks, guys. Don't let us get.
Thanks everyone for joining. So we've got 2 weeks off now of just scrolling, looking for like who we're going to sign and who's going to be the new manager. But we don't have to watch Everton play for another 2 weeks. So enjoy the rest from watching us play, and big up the Sky Sports News scrolling banner that says we've signed like 4 players and a new manager. Up the effing toffees.
I can't believe Moshiri was there. Lampard looked scared today, and it was weird how Ken Wright was left by himself. They was all sitting with Ken Wright, and he was still there the last 10 minutes, and they all left, and Ken Wright was sitting by himself. I do not get Everton. I found that really weird that he sat by himself, like seeing it out, and all the others have gone. I don't know whether Lampard's going to get sacked, but it
has to be.
I'm ending it now, but I think on someone saying Moshiri said that it's not up to him to sack the manager. I think Moshiri fucking loved Lampard, and he was up Lampard's arse, and he kept saying it's the fans wanted Lampard, and he wanted to prove a point like he did with Benitez.
To be honest, like I don't understand, and I'll never understand this, but I'm not a football person, so how he hasn't got the shame to just walk. Like if I can't do my job, like if I'm literally employed as to do a job and I can't do it, I wouldn't wait for them to sack me. I would just say, listen, I'm sorry, but I can't do this job. So
thanks
very much. And I'd walk.
He likes the money.
But he doesn't need the money.
He'll get the payout. He'll get a payout more if he stays.
He's literally worth like
millions. They're greedy. They're fucking greedy, mate.
That to me is an embarrassment.
They're greedy. They'll frigging take every penny they can. They'll take the sack, take the payout. They're in it for the money, not in it for the club like us. It's fucking bullshit, isn't it? Right, up the fucking toffees. I'm going to click end the broadcast now. Thanks for coming on, everybody. I'm going to try and get this right because I never